Joining us now is Barb Giles. She is the Executive Director of Strategic Initiatives at Jewish Senior Life to talk about how we can help our older adults and our seniors this holiday season as we visit with family and with friends over the Thanksgiving and the other holidays. Barb, thank you for being with us today. Appears you are muted. Just a moment.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. Good to see you. Good to hear you. On Jewish Senior Life, they recently released a list of signs of need in parents and older adults. Some of the ways that we can, things we can look out for to see if our older adults and our seniors and our families and even our friends may be in need if we haven't seen them in a while and maybe their circumstances have changed in a way that we're unaware of. What are some of those key signs that families should be looking out for in their older family members and their senior family members?
So evaluating your loved one during the holiday season this year is particularly important because some of us haven't necessarily been in person with our loved ones since the last holiday season. So I think there are 5 key tips that individuals who are seeing their loved ones for the first time, 5 things that they can do to evaluate any changes that might have happened with an older adult since the last time they were together. So my first suggestion is that if this is someone who you feel is safe to come in physical contact with and that it's safe for both of you, that if you are able to greet each other with a hug, or if you're not having physical contact because of your COVID concerns, to look for changes in physical appearance. Weight loss is indicative of a whole many variety of things that could be happening behind the scenes for older adults. Weight loss can happen because of financial concerns, that people are not spending money on groceries. They could have social reasons that they're not going to get groceries, especially now. Maybe they're even having difficulty cooking. So when you see somebody and you can even feel them when you're able to hug them, that is certainly a sign. Also, when you're able to look for changes in appearance, decreased mobility is a huge indicator that perhaps something is going on and a visit to the doctor is warranted. Also, unkempt or mismatched or unclean clothes, another good sign. These are just signs that something has happened under changes in appearance. The second tip I can give is take time to sit and listen and notice possible changes in personality. Are they asking the same questions over and over again? Are they getting not able to follow basic directions that perhaps you've given them? Or are they getting confused at times to people, places, and things? This is another sign that something may have changed for your loved one. A third way you can evaluate your loved one is to ask about their friends. You can talk to them about their social life. Right now, it's sort of hard to gauge someone's social life because of ways we are changing things because of COVID. But if you notice there's a lack of interest in things that they were previously interested, another sign that maybe there's a change. The fourth tip, and really almost one of my favorite tips, is to act like a nosy neighbor and look for changes in the home. This is a huge indicator that something has changed for an older adult. Is there more clutter than there used to be? If you rifle through their mail, are they not paying attention to their bills? If you open the refrigerator, this is another sign, a great indicator of expired food, spilled food, things that look yucky, that you don't think that they're not paying close enough attention to things. Are there multiples of the same item? Every time they go to the grocery store, are they buying the same thing over and over again that they're not remembering that they might have already bought it? Another sign of in the nosy neighbor is that you can look for signs if there's been a small house fire that maybe you didn't know of. Are there burns on the knobs or pot bottoms of some of the pots and pans? Or the other telltale sign is burnt pot holders with burnt edges, another sign that perhaps something has happened. Now, we all have small fires. Believe me, if you check my house, some of my pot holders look like that too. But these are all signs that maybe are building up towards something altogether. Also, what do their pets and houseplants look like? Are they remembering to water their plants? Are they remembering that to take care of other things? These are all great signs. And my fifth tip for evaluating your loved one during the holiday season is to take a walk or go for a ride with the older adult. Do you notice any new nicks or dents in the car since you last rode with them? Maybe they're getting in accidents and you don't know. Are they remembering to fasten their seatbelt when they get in the car? When you turn on the car, are you notice that some of the warning lights have been on and you're getting a low pressure sign that perhaps has been there for a while? Are they tailgating? If you feel it's safe to ride, are they tailgating? Do they follow the speed limit? And are they having any trouble confusing brake and gas? If not, you can go for a walk with them also and check their balance. Are they steady walking? Do they shuffle when they walk? All of these are possible changes. So those are my 5 tips for evaluating your loved one in the holiday season.
We're joined by Barb Giles. She is the Executive Director of Strategic Initiatives at Jewish Senior Life, joining us today on the MegaCast. And so, Barb, if you are noticing those signs and you have some concerns, what are the next steps that should be taken after you've identified some of these concerns to either address them with your loved one or even take action if they're severe enough?
The first action to take is always to evaluate your loved one medically. Take them to the doctor. You don't know when the last time perhaps they might have gone to the doctor is, or even something as simple like a urinary tract infection for an older adult can cause great confusion that is very temporary. And after a couple of doses of antibiotics, someone's back on their feet again and not showing that same confusion. So the first thing to do is to always have your loved one evaluated by a medical practitioner. Once that's happened, perhaps that person can give you more guidance if it is time to consider changes or if other options or supports are needed in the home. These are always great ways as your physician to really help be your guide as to what's going on and what other steps might need to be taken.
We're joined by Barb Giles. She's the Executive Director of Strategic Initiatives with Jewish Senior Life, joining us today on the MegaCast. And so, as we are in the holiday season, and we are going to have gatherings of families during the Thanksgiving holiday, over Thanksgiving weekend, and certainly in the holidays in December as well. Having those evaluations is one thing. It's important, but also it's important to create an environment that is welcoming and as safe all across the board for our seniors and for our older adults as well. Having those big family gatherings, they can be noisy, they can be compact, and that can be stressful for a lot of people, especially our older adults and seniors. What advice do you have for families to help to mitigate that situation this holiday season?
If you're noticing your loved one is becoming overwhelmed with the amount of people, especially after the isolation we've all had, social isolation because of COVID, to really simple strategies like taking the older adult to a room with fewer people. There's always one room, maybe the den or the living room, where fewer people are gathered and maybe the television isn't on, where you're limiting some of that outside noise and where you're able to make some changes for the person, because being overwhelmed is very anxiety provoking. So the easiest tip would be to take the person into an area of a lot less people congestion, where I still should remind everyone, we all want to be very careful with the climbing COVID numbers. So even please use great caution while you're with your loved ones over the holidays. And I believe our Oakland County is even advising masks being worn inside for family gatherings. So you might want to make some other changes depending on how large your group is that can help the person.
We're joined by Barb Giles from Jewish Senior Life. She is the Director of Strategic Initiatives, with us today on the MegaCast. And in terms of COVID-19 precautions that should be taken, what are the immediate factors that should be put into consideration before either inviting older adults and seniors in your family to these family gatherings, or inviting others to these gatherings that may include these individuals?
So Michigan Department of Health and Human Services #1 suggestion is vaccination. Vaccination is critical in helping us to control the COVID-19. After that, certainly good practices include frequent hand washing, disinfection and cleaning of high-touch surface areas. Masking, even while you're indoors, is currently recommended. All of the good COVID-19 practices, covering your mouth and nose if you're sneezing, all of those good practices that we've been following, good hand washing, I would stress the importance of making sure we're doing all of those things while we're visiting with our loved ones.
We're joined by Barb Giles, joining us today on the MegaCast. She is the Director of Strategic Initiatives with Jewish Senior Life. And during the season also, we got to think about our caregivers as well, because they've been with our older adults, with our seniors throughout this entire pandemic. It's been a challenging year and a challenging process for them through all of this as well. What further considerations should we be taking at the familial level for our caregivers also during this time?
Right. So caregiver burnout is a huge factor to consider. Almost 72% of family caregivers report not going to the doctor as often as they should for themselves. And 55% say they completely skip their own doctor's appointments. So taking care of yourself is critical in order to take care of your loved ones. It is really critical. Caregiver burnout is a real thing. And for those of you who have been taking care of somebody you love, especially during this pandemic, it's really critical that you are taking care of yourself. Some signs that you should be looking for that you're suffering from caregiver burnout is, do you have a lack of energy? Are you sensing an overwhelming sense of fatigue? Are you having sleep problems? Are you feeling like caregiving is controlling your life? Are you struggling with anxiety, depression, inability to concentrate? If you are not able to be the foundation to take care of the person that you're taking care of, your whole situation will crumble. You have to have the strong foundation. So at Jewish Senior Life, some of the things that we recommend is, it is critical for caregivers to ask for help. You are not a failure if you need help. So let other people know that you need their help and support, and give yourself permission to take breaks. And if it's not safe for you to take a break, maybe there are other things you can consider, like an adult day program, like we have at Jewish Senior Life at our Brown Adult Day program, that if you need a few hours of respite, excuse me, there are programs to help you so that you can get the care and do some of the things that you need. How about just waking up 15 minutes earlier to spend some time for yourself, where maybe you can journal, where maybe you can meditate, and you can have some time. Maybe it would be helpful for you as a caregiver to make a list of what you need to accomplish during the day so that you can make sure your needs are being met. I'm just going to grab a drink of water so that I don't choke to death.
Okay, yeah, I will then reset. We're joined by Barb Giles. She is the Director of Strategic Initiatives with Jewish Senior Life, joining us today on the MegaCast, talking about what we can look out for in our seniors and our older adults and our caregivers this holiday season. And so, Barbara, as we do our evaluations of our family members, of our caregivers, particularly of our older adults and seniors, one of the toughest things that a family can do is reach the point where they realize they need to make some changes in the lives of their loved one, and they need to make those changes themselves without without it being necessarily being the direct decision of that loved one. What advice do you have for the families that may be going through that pretty common struggle this holiday season after they've done their evaluations?
So one, there are professionals to help you. If you're making the decision that the current situation needs to change somehow, not necessarily for the person to move, but to change somehow, there are wonderful professionals in our community. Here at Jewish Senior Life, we have our own frontline resource by calling 248-661-1836. And our person who answers our telephone, Tracy Perkovnik, can help guide you. And there are navigators like that all over. And at places like Jewish Senior Life, we welcome people of all beliefs, faiths, nationalities to call us because we will help guide you. And there are other wonderful resources in our community of case managers and other practitioners who make it part of their business to help people find more support when a time has come to make a change. Maybe the change is simple. Maybe the person just needs home care services coming into their home. Maybe the person just needs 4 hours of somebody coming in and helping with some light tasks. Maybe the person needs physical therapy services coming into the home. Maybe you're deciding it's time to leave the home, and there are choices like independent living communities that offer supports. There are assisted living communities that offer tremendous supports. So there are resources, and people often make dramatic thoughts that they have to make some kind of radical change, when sometimes just by building in enough supports, you can make the change, or by moving someone to an independent living community that offers enrichments, you can build enough support up to help that person move forward with just a small change in their environment. So it's always not the most dramatic thing, but there are professionals to help everyone.
We're joined by Barb Giles. She's the Executive Director of Strategic Initiatives with Jewish Senior Life, joining us today on the MegaCast. Barb, just another few minutes with you today before we'll say goodbye. Any lasting advice or other considerations that should be made by families or individuals this holiday season regarding their older adults, seniors in their life, or caregivers?
One, please know everyone needs help, and there are wonderful places that are here to help all of you. This time of year is tremendously difficult, and I think this year maybe even more so than most, that the challenges and things that we will encounter after not being together for so long will really start to add that you'll start to see maybe different pictures. So don't get overwhelmed. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself as the caregiver. Make sure that you're evaluating the people who need evaluating, and call for help, because we're here to help you.
Well, Barb, we appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us and giving these families some needed advice and guidance on how they can help their loved ones as we head into this holiday weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.